Welcome to our next episode of
Fandom
Family
Chats.
This is a production of Family Fan Clubs on Facebook. You can find us all over Facebook. You can find us all over social media under Fandom Family Chats. Look us up, get dialed in, get plugged in, and get ready to listen to some crazy people talk crazy stuff. Welcome back to Fandom Family Chats. I'm your host, Maureen.
and I'm Jeanette.
And we are in our NBC night tonight. We are giving you, remember, our order is reversed. So we're going with PD first, and then we'll jump into Fire and Med. But we are starting off with a very intense episode of PD this week. Yeah. And PD lately, something that they've been doing filming, an interesting way to film it is they've been showing these sequences that at first, when she first came out and Dante was there, I was really confused. Like, what is happening here? It took me like a second because I'm stupid sometimes. It took me a minute to realize that this was just a time lapse of them leaving work and going to the gym, leaving work and going to the gym. And it's interesting. And we see some Jay in there, which, I mean, we've been talking for months and months and months about give us something. And I think this is, I mean, we got some answers this week with that.
I mean, we did. And I think initially I was comfortable with what we were getting because it clearly was sounding like she was having a conversation with him. So it wasn't just her leaving messages. They were actually talking. They were having a conversation. He obviously wants to extend his contract again. And I'm still a little bothered by all of that. Haley wants to have a discussion. I don't blame her. Like, this isn't just something
it's a
you
marriage.
just say. You're married. So you need to discuss this. And
then it sounds like he just drops off.
Yeah.
And he tells her, I need space.
Well, and I wonder though, because like later on in the episode when they're talking about have you talked to Jay or whatever, they said he's out of, what did they say, off the wire, or how are they worded it? So maybe that's what was happening maybe that night. And then he was gone and he had not been back, but she kept leaving him messages, which seemed strange if that was the case. Like, why would you keep calling? But he's ghosting her again. I don't really care for that.
No.
I don't know, but I do like that she's also, it seems like Dante, we love Dante. He's obviously there he's helping her by doing this training, and it's helping her at least pass the time instead of like thinking about this all up. I don't know.
Well, I like what Dante said too. He said, I think she needs the training to help her sleep. She wouldn't miss it.
Yeah.
So he's picking, and he even picks up on, I don't think they're doing well. This is not things that Haley's telling him. No, this is just Dante paying attention to his friend.
Yeah. And I mean, thank goodness how much he's paying attention, because had he not been paying this close attention, I'm not sure when they would have noticed that she was gone.
Yeah.
I mean, he picks up on it right away. She doesn't show up. He starts looking for her immediately. So I was really appreciative of that for him.
And the other thing too is that each time she calls Jay, it's at night, right? So it's each time she calls is a different night. And she did say at one point, I've given you what you wanted. I've given you your space. And now I need to talk. So that does give an indication that, because obviously we can't hear what Jay is saying. So it gives an indication that he said, hey, I need to pull back. I need this. And I wish it would have been more of a seeing a conversation or just hearing a conversation or something. So I do hope that by the end, either Jesse Lee Soffer comes on and does a final scene, or he records his voice and we hear a conversation where it's just, because otherwise it's just a one-sided conversation and it doesn't relieve the situation anyway.
Yeah. I'm just not happy with how it's been handled.
No, not at all. No. But Taurus is, I mean, he came on and I got to tell my kid, he's one of my new favorites. And she was like, why? And so I got to talk to him about Taurus.
I was when you started to say there just now, like, he's my new favorite. I was like, hold on now. Hold on.
Hey, I told you he is tied with Adam for me. Sometimes he's above Adam. Sometimes Adam's on top. I told you this already.
I love Dante though, but
I do love Dante.
Never above Adam. Never.
But she does. I do like that in her phone, it's Lee, Jay's guy, answer.
Yeah.
So that was nice. So we're getting this entire episode was about Haley and Jay's relationship in some way. And what was going on with Lee was also mirroring what's going on with her and Jay. I mean, how many times did she say, just tell me? I can't tell you. She's begging him to talk to her so she can salvage whatever is happening here.
Yeah.
And she's doing the same thing with Jay, and neither one of them are talking.
Yeah. And I mean, this whole, even with Lee, like, what has gotten them into this mess, being like taken by these people and why they're there was something he did just as a way, he says, basically to like try to get her back, which is another way I think of mirroring where like Haley is willing to do anything here to fix this relationship, but the other person's not putting in any effort because they don't care that much.
Yeah. And that's it's so sad.
Hmm?
And it made me so sad with Lee when he said that. It just, I don't know why I liked Lee so much, but I did. I was
a good
really
guy.
sad that he died. I did not like that. And the two guys who jumped them with tasers, they came prepared for two people. I'm sorry. How'd you know about that?
I know, that's true.
Unless they tapped his phone, but I mean, how would they?
Maybe.
I don't know. But that I did want to say, did that bathroom and the hotel they were in, did it remind you of anything?
It reminded it. Oh, yeah. Did it look like the one with who was there? Was it with Kim?
That was the miscarriage episode.
Oh,
it looked just like the bathtub Anna found her in. And then when they were going on the outside, it looked just like the hotel where they burst into.
It's probably the same one, the sketchy motel where all the stuff's going down. It probably is.
Man. I mean, they have to reuse set stuff, I assume, occasionally. So I think it was this. I think it was the same one.
Well, that's even sadder. What a terrible place.
I know. That's what I kept thinking of the whole time. And I was like, oh, I wonder if that's going to wreck Jeanette. But luckily you didn't notice it while you were watching it.
I didn't think about it till now. So thanks for that.
You're welcome. I did
I have new images of that bathroom that will now probably trump what happened to poor Kim, if we're being honest.
With the hand. I really thought it was going to be the head. So I was very nervous. I did not want to see his head come off.
Because I was like, they're not going to kill him because they want to know where the money is.
I mean, so I thought that too, but then they killed him without knowing where the money is.
But the Eli guy killed because he's the other guy that had no intention of actually killing him because that didn't help at all.
I did. Oh, that was good. When after they shot Eli or after they shot Lee, and I don't remember the head guy's name. What was his name?
Mark, I think.
Yeah, Marcus, I think.
Marcus,
maybe. Yeah. And he looked at Haley and she said, I'll take you to it. He's like, no, you'll tell it to me or I'm going to shoot you. And she went, no, you're going to shoot me as soon as I tell you. And then he said, well, I'll just beat it out of you. How's that been working for you so far?
I loved it.
And what I loved about it was as they zeroed in on Haley's face, there wasn't a single tremor, not a single twitch. She didn't even blink. Like,
not one.
Gosh.
Yeah. No,
Haley is dominant this season and I'm so here for it. But one thing I did want to go back and circle back to and talk about is him and Jessica, Lee and this Jessica woman, how sad it was that he said, I couldn't give her the life that she wanted. Yeah. And so she left me. But then we see later on, she helped him plan this robbery. So she did this to him. She got him sober, but then he's got like sees her as a savior and he literally died to save her. Yes. And she's the whole reason he was put in this mess. It was sad too, because Lee was clearly a good guy because when Marcus was going to cut off her hand, he freaked out. And the way he screamed, look at me. It was so devastating. He knew he was going to die at that point. He knew it. And when he charged at Eli, I actually cheered. Yeah. Because he's a good guy. He didn't deserve what he got. And even Marcus is like, he had one hand. How was he going to fight back when he had one hand?
What was he going to do? Yeah.
And to hear after all that, after all he did, after all he sacrificed, to hear him tell Haley, the money's all gone. She spent it all. It's like, how do you spend $50,000? It was $50,000, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
How do you spend $50,000? I mean, this guy couldn't have taken him that long to realize A, it was missing and B, who stole it.
Right.
So what did she do with all this money? And so Haley did step up and she was really smart about it. And she obviously, we talked about what she said to them, and she wasn't going to go down without a fight because that's Haley's personality. Yeah. And I think that plays into her later on. But thankfully, while she's going through all this trauma, we can see the entire team is working for her, led by Torres. And I love that this episode brought out my favorite version of Hank Voight. I missed him.
His protective. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, everything about just the way I love seeing them. They do this, especially when it's someone that's on their team that they're needing to fight for. I mean, it's a new
their
family.
Kind of
and I will say, I mean, Haley, we talked about how we hate how the girls have to go through so much, which I think it is true. I mean, we know some of our guys have had their issues too, but like the most brutal stuff happens to our women every single time. But watching this episode, it just made me think. The thing is, though, with these women, like even though the team is looking for them, they tend to rescue themselves for the most part.
Absolutely, they do.
And I'm like, I love that part at least. Like if they have to be like, they have to go through so much. I love seeing how strong they are that they have to. I mean, no different than Kim being like shot and dragging herself to safety. So I don't know. I thought that was great. But going back, I want to talk a little bit more about Jessica. Okay. This woman
I hate
who
her.
She was so unwilling, even after they brought her in because they found out, I forget how, it was like social media or something. They tracked it all down, a message from that Marcus guy, whatever it was. Get her brought in there, and she's still not talking, even though they tell her that he's been like abducted. And she knows who he's been abducted by. She probably knows how crazy these people are.
She helped him arrange the theft.
Yeah.
It was her idea.
And you were just going to let him, I mean, you let him die for this.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what kind of person are you? Like, that's great and all that you helped him get sober, but obviously you don't care that much for this person that you just let them die.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I hated her a lot.
A lot.
A lot.
A lot.
Yeah. I mean, eventually she talks. I can't even remember what it was that Hank was able to say to get through. Oh, because he was going to blame it on her because they had the social media stuff. And so he was going to blame her for whatever happened to Haley while she was there.
Yeah, because he came in there with the picture of Marcus.
Mm-hmm.
And then he said, I'm going to start speaking. You're going to tell me when I'm wrong. And then he said what he said, and she looked away. And then he got real close to her face.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I love it.
Honestly, that alone, coupled with his angry voice, I would have confessed anything you wanted me to confess.
Look, Hank Voight can make me flip so fast on literally anyone. I think I might flip on my children if he got 100%. My face like that. Like, he would scare me. I can't do it. Okay, cannot do it.
And then even when she did start talking, did you hear what she said to him when he was called out of there? What's gonna happen to me? I didn't do anything wrong.
Not worried about you right now.
He just told you that because you're an idiot, you got his cop captured.
Yeah.
But you probably caused at least great bodily harm to this other guy. And your only question is, what's going to happen to me? She's a terrible human being.
No, absolutely. I was so confused on how this was going to all go because I'm thinking, oh my God, like they're not going to be there. I didn't know, where's Haley taking them? Like, once again, like our women are like geniuses to write home in the blood, and like Hank to just understand what it is too. So,
but I wonder where she actually told them, because they didn't go to her. They were going in the opposite direction.
Well, I think, were they not heading towards her place?
No, he said they're 6 blocks away and going in the wrong direction.
Oh, that's true.
That's true. But I mean, how could she have directed them where to go if she's at the back of the trunk, gagged and tied?
Yeah, so maybe they just were I don't know.
Making a pit stop, maybe?
Obviously, they were going near her house, or that's where she was trying to get them, because if they were 6 blocks away, they were close enough that...
Yeah, maybe she didn't want them to know where she actually lived.
Yeah, maybe she just wanted to get them in that vicinity somehow. I don't know. Her in the back seat with her, like, sweatpants, I'm like, oh my gosh, so resourceful. The way she popped out of there and, like, choked him. I was like, girl.
Now, I was folding laundry while she was struggling with her in the back seat. And so I didn't really see that her hands are tied behind her back. And so but when I looked up, I suddenly saw a rip off of them. Like, what? Why did she wait this long to take it out? And Jane went, no, Mom, her hands are behind her back. She worked really hard to get in front of her. That looked really hard to do. She's really strong.
Like, what'd she do? Like with her legs? Yeah. Probably. I think I looked away too. Yeah. I mean,
I was very stressed out.
Look, I've seen this in shows, like when they do that, when they're able to wiggle them. I'm like, unfortunately, I'm way too fat for that. There's absolutely no way possible.
My body doesn't move that way.
I could do that. So I'm in trouble if I ever get like tied up.
Maybe let's not announce that to everybody.
I mean, I'm not going to be able to escape. I don't know what to tell you. I don't do that.
The other thing I thought too, though, was, I'm sorry, she has bested you several times. Why do you keep putting the same zip ties on her? They clearly don't do the job.
They're not doing anything. Yeah.
You guys are idiots for thinking, let me just keep doing the same thing to you and it's going to work out fine.
No. Um, but I mean, and even still, okay, when we see that she wrecks the car, Mark is still alive. He like is on top of her, and she manages to reach over. And I couldn't even tell what it was she grabbed, but she stabs him in the neck. And I'm like, girl, you didn't even need. Then Hank shows up. You didn't need them. You got this. You didn't need them at all.
Nope.
I mean, you might have needed, medical care afterwards, but that's all you needed. That's all you needed. But no, even still, I guess, we don't need Hank, but I guess I was thankful he was there because, I mean, not just this, but she has just been through so much.
Oh my gosh.
I liked their sweet moment because I think someone in another, not our Chicago group, but another one they posted something about like, oh, Hank seemed to really have a soft spot for Haley, which I was like, well, yeah, that's kind of, but it hit me today that like she joined the team right after Aaron left. So I think that's exactly why he latched onto her and not so much Kim, because I think he cares about Kim and he cares about the rest of the team, but there's a different relationship he has with Haley than anyone else on the team.
I think it's also because Haley outranks the rest of the team.
Yeah.
So Hank can rely on her in an equal measure that she can rely on him.
Yeah.
Because he can share more of the responsibilities with her and she can rely on him for the same thing.
Yeah.
Obviously, she's not Hank's level, but she does outrank the rest of the team. So he can rely on her more heavily.
That can make sense. I mean, I can see that.
But I do think it has something to do with Aaron being gone too.
I think it just so happened that she was able to fill that role because Aaron had left right before that. Yeah. And because obviously we've heard her relationship with her father was terrible. So she sort of allows him to take on that fatherly role. I don't know.
And that's exactly what the relationship is. They have a father-daughter relationship.
Yes.
And even when he was talking to Jessica, that was her name, right? Stupid girlfriend.
Yes.
And he said, if my officer, but you knew that like the way he said my officer was way more possessive than just a boss to, and not in a romantic possessive, but like this is my blood. Almost, it was almost like that's what he was saying.
And I think he would feel, because I don't think necessarily like loves her more than anyone else on the team, because I think he thinks of all of his team as, but
the rest of his team has somebody too.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. Yeah,
she's alone. Hank is alone, especially after Al died. Like Hank is alone.
I know.
I was recording on my Sanditon Chronicles podcast and I brought that up. I was like, Casey Jones died and I had to mentally prepare.
Someone in our group, when I was doing my 30-day challenge, and I said, like, what storyline would you want to see next season? Did you see someone was like, well, I want to find out that Al actually wasn't dead. He's been in witness protection. And I was like,
oh, please.
I don't think that's true, but I would love it.
Can you imagine?
So for that, like
Dick Wolf would redeem himself for me on every single level. Every single level for me. Everyone.
The Hawkins one would be real. It would be real close.
Bring Al back, and we're good.
You're probably right. I could probably let the Hawkins one go for that.
Al was, because I was way more emotionally connected to Al than I was to Hawkins. Though I loved Hawkins, though that was a devastating death. I loved Al way more than I loved Hawkins.
I mean, that's probably true.
And I had 5 years with Al.
Had I been watching live, Al would have destroyed me. And I didn't, if I didn't know it was coming, which I didn't tell you. So I'm sorry. I can't believe
you didn't tell me. That still blows my mind. And so the relationship between Hank and Haley is really, really pivotal. And I think it had to be, certainly in this episode, it had to be highlighted because they have a drink together. And I actually laughed out loud when he's like, so the hospital say you can't drink.
The look on her face was like, do it.
And it's so rare that you get like a genuine smile from Hank. And this wasn't even like a happiness smile from Hank. This was all right, come and talk with me. And it's rare that people can bring that out in him. And I like that Haley does that to him, because Haley does soften him as much as as he comes back strong for her. She also softens him. And I hate that Jessica's just being charged with robbery.
I know.
There should be more there, because she knew there should be an obstruction of justice charge. And I'm sad that they didn't bring that up, because they have proof that she had prior knowledge of who they were with. And there was an officer that was involved. There should be a stronger charge than just a robbery.
Yeah. And if she cooperated initially, I would have been cool with like, let's just charge her with like, but like Lee's dead because you didn't cooperate soon enough.
And also those other guys deserve to die, but two other men were also dead. You could pile that on her too.
That's true. That's true.
So when they talk, she brings up that it's been 12 hours that they haven't talked with Jay, that she hasn't talked with Jay. So you know that all those messages, it wasn't him out of range. It was him just ghosting her. And what made me really, really sad was when she said, for him, he won't even know I was gone. Like,
that broke my
oh
heart.
my
because
gosh.
that's true. Imagine that the person you were supposed to spend your life with, you have been through this and they have no idea that it's even happened to you.
So
and they won't unless you choose to tell them.
And she won't. She
No.
will not tell him that. And not because she's strong in her own self, but because I think that she won't be able to tell him that.
Yeah.
And that was maybe one of the more devastating things about the relationship as it is, was that line right there. He won't even know I was gone.
Yep.
And I think Hank knows it. And what he said, I'm so glad you wrote this down because I wanted to read it exactly. Hank says it's okay to let go if you're the only one fighting. It doesn't mean you don't love him. It only means you love you too. Haley needed that so much.
Yeah.
And the other devastating thing was when she went back to the apartment, his razor and stuff was still out. Like
everything.
She's frozen like,
in time.
Yes. Yeah. It looked like part of me was like, did Jay come back this episode and he's going to surprise her or something? Because it was so frozen.
Yeah.
And so that was really sad to see. And when I thought it was really nicely done how they filmed that, because they let us see all the stuff that she's held on to, that she's fought to keep exactly the same. She's fought to keep in place. That when she took off that ring, it was almost, I don't even know if you've ever seen this movie, but The Lord of the Rings, when they put the ring on, and like everything changes. That's what it felt like when she took the ring off. Like it was that pivotal. It was almost like I could physically touch the heaviness when she took off that ring. And it was so sad to see her that sad. It needed to happen.
It needed to happen. And I am very, as much as, I mean, I'll say it again. I think they've ruined Jay's character unnecessarily.
Yeah.
With this whole thing. I'm terrified. This is what upsets me about the thought of if Taylor Kinney decides he's not going to return. I don't want to see them do this to Severide.
No.
Look, I think Jay, we should have killed him off. And I hate to say that, but if there is never a chance for him to return.
But maybe that's why they didn't come up, because they don't want to ruin the chick, because he left on good terms.
I guess.
And so I think if you leave the Chicago world on good terms, they don't want to kill you off in case they can bring you back, like Matt Casey.
Yeah.
Matt Casey didn't say he was done. He just said, I've got to take a break. And maybe that's what Jesse wanted too.
There had to have been a better way.
I agree with you completely. There had to have been
a better way. Because I mean, I know Aaron left this way, but it was different. Her and Jay, that also hurt, but they weren't married. I am terrified that we're going to mess up and we're going to do this to Severide's character. If this is the case and you don't want to kill him, we need to divorce them and within a couple episodes.
Yeah, I agree.
We can't drag this on for a season.
No.
This was not Jay. And I don't know. It upsets me. I don't think I'll ever forgive them for the way that they've done here. Because
it could have been solved with him and Haley sitting down and Jay saying, Haley, I can't do this. I have to find something else. And them having a conversation about, even if it was that he still went into the military. Yeah. But we didn't have that conversation. We didn't have him. We just saw him break Haley when she was already. And the worst part was she was already broken. Yeah. This is on the heels of how damaged she was from what she and Hank got into. Yeah. And he just decided to completely shatter her.
And in this case, PD is the one show that rarely focuses on romance whatsoever. You didn't need Jay to be here to still be her husband. If we had seen him and Haley have a conversation and Haley was comfortable and we knew they were talking off screen and it would have been fine. Yeah. I would have accepted, because you don't need, in Fire, it's all about romance. So if they're not, I feel like it's the one of the three where there's constant ships happening all the time. Yeah. So I get that. In PD, it's not. Really in Med, it's not either. You don't have to do that in these shows to keep the story moving forward.
Exactly. And I still think that obviously their relationship is done. It's over. It's finished. Yeah. But I think that we still need to see Haley talking to Jay and saying, Jay, listen, I can't do this. And seeing or hearing a conversation take place to that effect. So, I agree. I think that needs to happen. We got 2 more episodes. What? 2, right? We
Two-
only have two
two
more
more.
episodes left.
Yeah.
I think they can do that by the end. The finale is supposed to be a big deal, right?
Yeah.
Jesse Lee Soffer's still around, right?
I think so.
He's directing their episodes. He's involved. How much work would it be to record your voice saying something?
We don't even have to have your face. I mean, I would
No.
love to have your face, but I mean, we don't have to.
Because I mean,
Yeah.
we know we're not coming back to the show. So honestly, showing your face might give us a little bit of hope.
I know.
So don't. And actually, now I don't want him to come back. So
That's what
mad
the
at him.
problem is. Like, you've made it to where, like, I don't want Jay Halstead around anymore.
no. And he used to be my favorite Halstead.
Well, that's not true for me, but
Well, it's because I watched Med last of all the shows. So I had plenty of time to like Jay better than Will. I only started watching Med in September.
I'm just saying. I can't say the same to be true. But I did love Jay. I did.
Well, Will's my favorite now. But next week, my other favorite, Dante, it's all about him. And I think
I don't like it though.
No,
like,
but there's no way that Dante is a dirty cop. There's
no way.
They're faking us out with that. The dirty
Yeah.
cop is not going to be Dante.
There's probably been one little thing in his past, because he does say to that girl
He'd be
that
fired.
I was excited because I liked that little budding romance.
I'm glad we see that girl again.
But he
Corinne,
says,
is that her name?
Oh, I don't remember
No,
her
that's
name at all.
That's Friday Night Lights. Corinne is Friday Night Lights, isn't it?
And that's Smash's mama. And
Yep.
way off, but I don't remember what her name is. But I liked her. And I mean, just his saying, like, if they knew that I lose my job, that was kind of like, I don't know what that means.
I do think too, like, because we see Dante when he went back to handle. It was after one of the first cases we saw him on that highlighted Dante.
Yeah.
And he went back and he handled business at that apartment building with that guy. He beat it's not out of him. And maybe that's what he means by, if my team knew I was doing this, I would be fired. Because maybe he's policing his apartment complex. He's policing that block there.
Yeah.
But I don't think that that's necessarily a bad thing. He's still a cop.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he's not necessarily doing anything wrong, but he is kind of partially being vigilante by not putting any of this on the books, by not saying, I beat up some guy to handle justice. But Hank is not going to fire him for that.
Of all the places in the world to work and not get in trouble for that, working for Hank Boyd is the place for you.
And maybe Dante's never seen that side of Hank. So maybe he thinks that Hank is soft, and Hank is not that.
He's like exactly the opposite of soft. So,
and we see it by Hank going, "Talk to me now."
So I think it's gonna all be fine.
It will be. He's not going to get fired. I think but I think that he might even think that because Dante is so good and he follows the law so completely that there's no way that it's just, I think what I'm doing is not okay. So everyone else must think this is not okay.
Yeah.
I think that's more going to be what it is.
Probably.
Because no,
so
help me, Dick Wolf. Because I kept thinking, because of the writer's strike, it was on my head that we lost Santiago at season 4. If you take away Dante Torres, I'm going to be so angry. I cannot even express how angry I'll be if you take away Dante.
No, that would be bad.
But of course, maybe they didn't know the writer's strike was coming when they wrote this episode. So, but there's opportunity to do it now.
Yeah.
So that's all I can think about is we lost characters after that writer's strike.
This is always a change, because even COVID causes you to lose. Like when COVID stuff happened, that's where we lost Vanessa from this show. So like, I feel like anytime something major happens that changes the course of the way things are done, there's a chance for weird stuff to happen like that.
I'm gonna be mad. I'm gonna be so mad.
Yeah. Oh, like PD has the smallest cast. Let's just leave all of them alone.
Yeah. Take some of the people away.
I'm sorry to say that, but I don't want that either. Because then let's not go there, Maureen, because
there are some characters that we've added on there that are, don't take away Sean though.
That's what I'm saying. Let's not put that out in the universe, okay? Let's not do it.
I love Sean, but I don't want to lose Dante.
Because I've already but look, I've met Luigi, I've not met Benjamin, so I'm gonna choose. I can't. Once we meet them, my loyalty is there. Always.
Dang it.
He's got a fan for life because I've talked to him. So I'll back him forever. We'll do it.
But that'll be next week on PD. And I'm while I look forward to a Dante episode, I don't like how they're framing it.
Yeah.
I'm a little
But
angry at it.
I think it'll be okay, because if they frame it bad, it's never bad when they actually make it look bad. It's when it's unsuspecting, is when we lose people like Hawkins, when it doesn't show like, no, we're fine.
Yeah.
Agreed. So don't worry. Yeah.
Again, writer's strike has me worried.
Yeah, it has us all worried. Let's just hope that the poor writers get what they deserve and everything gets settled amicably and quickly.
Yes.
That's what I hope.
Can we just get it done, please? Give
Make
them what
it
they
look-
want. They
Please.
make you popular. Give them what they want.
They deserve it. I'm sure they work hard. Just make it happen.
So I guess now we can jump into fire.
Let's do it.
Speaking of jumping into fire, let's jump right into what we saw in last week's preview. Brett has had better weeks. And I got to say, I was not fully Team Brett this episode. I understood part of it, but I was not Team Brett this episode.
I am really glad, because I thought I was the only one watching that was not going to be on. Now, at the very end of all of it, I was kind of more so like, okay, obviously this needed to happen. But initially, I was not. I was like, what are you doing? Like, I mean, it's clear that like when they're switching shifts, I mean, these two women are expressing how tired they are, how crazy the shift has been. So then they get pulled off to an emergency call.
Yeah.
And I get those other girls should have absolutely stocked their stuff before they were out of there. They should have. But isn't it also a little bit on Brett and Violet for not double checking as well? I mean, couldn't have Violet hopped in the back and kind of did a quick check as they were on their way to the thing? I just didn't get how the blame was solely on them.
I agree.
I didn't get it. Yeah.
And
I don't know.
Obviously, this woman has made other mistakes, but we don't know that right off the bat. So all I kept thinking is, Brett, have you never made a mistake?
Exactly.
Not ever?
Exactly.
Because that's what this is. And we don't, I guess the only time it wouldn't be solely on Brett, and like it wouldn't be equal divide, is because if the case was the previous shift was just coming in from a call as the other shift was coming on to take over. So there wasn't time to overlap to check, because one call had just ended as one call started.
Right.
But there's no indication that happened. So Brett and Violet,
I think it was a gray area here.
Exactly.
Because I mean, I know they were in a hurry, but Brett made the comment like, we don't have time to check them all, which I get. But then at the same time, like, these people obviously have been really busy. Maybe they didn't have time to like.
They got 20 minutes of sleep.
I mean, I don't know. I'm just saying, I think they were wrong for not doing. That was obviously a job that is theirs. They should have done it.
Yeah.
I thought they do deserve to maybe be written up.
A little grace.
Just like Bowden was going to do, give them a warning. I felt like that was the appropriate like way to handle it.
Yes, absolutely.
I don't know. But I mean, I think what it boils down to is Brett, it involved a baby in this situation. And we know she seems, with her being adopted when she was an infant like that, it obviously is something that hits close to home for her. So that's what happened.
Overreaction.
I agree. I absolutely agree. And even, I mean, I feel like Violet agreed. Like Violet said to her, like, do you think you're overreacting just a little bit? And I mean, Violet's one to tell you like it is. Like, I think she would, she's not going to sugarcoat it. If it's overreacting, she's going to tell you. If you're right, she'll agree with you, you know?
Well, even the look on her face when the PIC came into the firehouse and like freaked out on Violet, and Violet said, "Get out of my firehouse now." Like, who do you think you are? Violet was shocked by that, completely blown away by the fact that Brett had said that to her. And the PIC was right. This is my firehouse too.
Yeah.
Brett has no grounds to tell anybody to get out or do anything like that. That's not her role. And to take dominance over it like that is insanity. And even when she told Bowden the reason why, I audibly said, so?
Yeah. It was a lot.
That doesn't justify what you did.
It was not a good look for her.
No.
And I don't know. I had never seen that side of her, and I did not care for it at all.
No. But I was glad. I know we're going to talk about the case here that happened, but Bowden, I was fully team Bowden because he said, one, she's fired. Because Violet went in there and she's like, I thought you were just getting a warning. He said, I did. The system worked. She had other warnings. And because I put this in as a warning, it kicked her out because she had too many. So the system works. But he went on to say, that was not the Brett I know.
Mm-hmm.
And he made her dig. And so for her to say that it's because her mom was 16 when she gave birth for adoption. So what?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I get that's emotional for you. That does not justify how you treat people in your firehouse.
And
It
that's
doesn't.
what, like, if we had seen like Brett sort of feel like she was wrong by the end of the episode, I would have been more forgiving, because we all have moments where we think we take things too personally and maybe we overreact about stuff. If she had been like, you were right, this is what happened. And maybe even she even spoke to this woman and been like, I apologize for the way that, I don't know, there needed to be something to show that she understood that she was overreacting, but she seemed very, I don't know, like arrogant in all of this. And I just didn't care for that look on her
What
at all.
she said was, I didn't like seeing her that way, but if she has other warnings, then she's still a danger to our client, to our patients. So
she justified her actions.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And it was, Matt needs to come in. Something happened when Matt Casey came and he like broke her.
Yeah, we need to fix it like immediately.
Speaking of her love life, did you hear the first question Violet asked her?
Something about Dylan, but like I said, I blocked out everything we talked about this, so I just don't remember what it was.
Do you know why I'm bringing it up? Because it doesn't appear on the outline anywhere.
I'm telling you, I block it out. Block it out. It's unimportant at this point.
It's unimportant. She said things are going better since then because he told her all the kids liked her magic show. So she guesses it's fine. But she said, I guess it's fine. So clearly it's not okay. And honestly, I think that's part of the reason she overreacted is because her love life is not going okay.
No. Because you're with Dylan. Poor guy.
Anyway, this is when they go to this call. Did you notice how Amber's mom said something? She said, there's something wrong with this baby thing or something like that. Yeah. But the way she said it was really like,
you could tell from the beginning that this woman wanted nothing to, which again, I mean, maybe I could never be this cold. No. I could never. But I also do understand. I mean, if you had been a teenage mom and then your child ends up a teenage mom, maybe you feel like you've done your part. And
did she say she was a teenage mom?
No, but I just assumed because she looked kind of young, in my opinion, to be a 16-year-old's mom, but maybe not. I don't know. I may have made that up and just
I think you
projected that. She just seemed like she was just like, I'm not having any part of this kind of thing. She
said, I've already had a baby girl and it caused me enough trouble. I have no interest in doing anything with this one. Which is heartbreaking.
It's definitely cold though. I could never.
Can you imagine?
No.
And even the girl, when it was almost like she had no idea she was pregnant. Like her mom had her that ill prepared.
Yeah.
That she couldn't figure out what was happening when it came out of her. Like it was so bizarre.
Which, I mean, I get it. It was an odd thing. The baby's still in the sack. That's not normal. But I think you could figure out, like, even before I had any kids, if that had happened, I think I would have been able to figure out what was going on, because that's just basic anatomy and I understand the mechanism of giving birth. But
it's not like she was just taking a step and went, oop, it slipped out. She had to have been in labor of some sort.
Right?
It's not like your downstairs is that loose that it could just fall out of you when you're taking a step. I mean, that's not how it works.
Not with the first baby. I mean, I think after several, supposedly it gets easier, but I mean.
So you have to wonder, how long was this girl? So either she didn't tell her mom, she didn't know she was.
Yeah.
Because even when she was holding the baby, she kept saying this. And then when they cut it open, the baby was breathing. She said, what the hell is that? Is what she said.
Yeah.
So I don't even know that she
weird.
told her mom she was. It was such an odd situation. So either her mom didn't take her to the hospital when she was in labor, or the mom didn't know she was pregnant, and neither did the girl.
Yeah.
Because that girl was completely confused by what was happening.
Yeah. Well, even when they went back to see her at the hospital, I mean, she still was just so distant and so out of it. So, I mean, I knew from that moment, I was like, oh, she ain't keeping this baby.
Oh,
I mean,
absolutely not.
We're lucky that she decided. I mean, honestly, it's a good thing that what she did. I mean, if this is the way you're feeling, like, that's what that box at the firehouse is for.
Yeah. I did think it was odd that they wanted that firebox or the baby box put in there for that. They wanted the baby box put in for that reason, but then they went back and tried to convince her and this girl to take the baby back.
Yeah.
No, you could see that they were checked out. Why are you trying to convince this woman who clearly wants nothing to do with this baby to take a baby back?
Right.
That's not the point of the box. And even when the mom was saying it to them, that she told me when you were back there, it almost sounded like she was accusing them of something, but then saying it was the best thing she did. Like, it was such a weird vibe in that house. I could not figure it out.
It was weird. And what do you think? Do you think Brett's going to be adopting this baby?
That's what I thought. I thought Matt Casey is going to come back, and she's just like what he did with the boys, that he's going to be like, oh, I can help you with this baby. And they're going to be a family unit.
As long as he's not gun shy about the whole, I mean, this is basically what happened with him and Gabby too, though. Except for it wasn't baby.
And it wasn't a 16-year-old who left the state to go somewhere else and run away from the baby, and a grandmother who's like, no, take it away from me.
I don't know.
Maybe he'll see this as redeeming Louis. I don't know. But I feel like that was my thought, was that she's going to adopt her.
Yeah.
On that same level, like when Shep appeared on the screen, I knew the moment they rolled him away, I was like, uh-oh, that's going to be a problem. He's staring at Stella a little too long. And
poor Stella, like, I love her. That's just who she is. And that she's like, oh yeah, man, I love you. Like, you are the most important thing right now. And I'm like, oh God, Stella, I don't think that's not.
Is that what she said to him?
Well, she said, she maybe not the I love you thing, but she said, when he said something about not caring, she's like, no, you were the most important person in Chicago right now. Like, talk about to them, which I get what she's saying. Like, they do. She was trying to reassure, like, we do care about you. We're going to save you, whatever. But, and if you're saying this to a non-crazy person, they would have taken it the way that you wanted them to.
Dr. Charles doesn't like that word.
I know. I thought about him as soon as I said it. But I don't know how else to describe Shep. Okay.
Maybe he likes the word insane better.
I bet he doesn't like that either. Mentally ill, I guess. I don't know. But
and I mean, the other crazy thing about it too is he had no injuries. In fact, when he said, I've got no pain in my legs, I went, uh-oh, Jane went, what? I said, oh, he's paralyzed. Oh, shoot.
That's what I thought. But no, they were fine.
Even Gallo, like, he went to go check why he wasn't paralyzed even. So, I mean, it was a miraculous save, which made Stella even that more happy about it. And it made them connect even deeper because Stella was witnessing this miraculous thing.
Yeah.
But when he came to the firehouse and Carver walked up with her, like the way he kept like backing away from Carver and like staring at him, I thought, oh God, this is going to be.
I knew. Yeah.
But did you also feel like when he looked at Carver and he said, she doesn't love you, that there was a twofold meaning there?
Yes. Look, we are still holding that in the background in case Taylor doesn't come back to the show.
I know we are.
Honestly, I'm cool with it. If he doesn't come back, I think Carver and Stella have way more chemistry than Violet and Carver have.
Yeah.
Well, even at the end when Carver, like later when they're talking, wherever they're talking at Molly's, like after Carver goes and finds out Shep's history, that he's been violent towards like someone he's not at that shelter anymore, woman, all those things. Yes.
Specifically a woman. Because that was who he targeted, they said.
I think when he has the conversation with Stella, like about, she says, Kelly would tell me I'm getting too, I've gotten too emotional and I've gotten too close to like a victim, whatever. Carver reassuring her that like, no, that makes you who you are. Yeah. And I can't remember, I wish I wrote down exactly what he said, but something about like how it can like change things for people. And he's like, I'm speaking that from experience. Yep. That was another, in my opinion, he still does have feelings for her. He just pushed them aside so that he can make things work in the firehouse. But I think we're going to revisit it if Taylor doesn't come back.
And he's the first person Stella calls before even calling the cops.
Yes.
So I don't know. That's clearly where they're going, but I don't want to believe that Severide's not coming back either. I don't want to believe it.
Yeah.
I felt like on a lot of episodes this week, we were saying goodbye to characters, and I didn't like that feeling of saying goodbye to characters this week on all of the Chicago shows. I didn't like it.
No, I agree.
And when the thing that I didn't like was Stella. She called Carver over there, but what did she think Carver was going to do? Carver told her he's dangerous. He's off his meds. I'm coming there. And then she called the cops, which she should have called the cops first. Yeah. But then he shows up there. This guy is dangerous. I don't like how they portrayed the cops in this either, because it was, they didn't ask questions. They didn't do anything. He's saying he came at me. Of course, the mentally ill guy is saying, oh no, he's attacking me and freaking out. And nothing he flipped the script, but
yeah, if nothing else, take them both in and then sort that out.
That's how that should have worked, because
which maybe they did. I mean, maybe we just didn't see them taking Shep in. I don't know, but
it didn't look like it. But how they were talking, it didn't sound like it either.
Yeah.
And even Stella, I mean, she's the one who's saying, I called you. He was the danger, not Carver. This guy was the danger. And they have, of course, they don't know this, but they have the witnesses at Crossroads who said he was violent towards women. So they have, so I don't think anything really bad is going to happen to Carver. I think it's going to be straightened out, because if it's not, this is a misfire on Dick Wolf's part, because you have a PD show to show a police force being that inept to not follow the evidence would be insane. So Carver's going to be let out in the next episode, because there's no way.
Yeah, I hope so.
Well, they have proof that he's violent against women. They have proof that he felt, I mean, how did he find out where Stella lives? He's stalking her.
True.
He spoke that way to Carver more than once. Carver has a stellar reputation, where this guy has a reputation of violence and abuse against women. Right. So if they don't release him from jail, that's a misfire.
Carver probably doesn't have a stellar reputation. He's been arrested a couple times for fighting.
Forgot about that.
That's gonna hurt him.
Oh shoot.
Yeah.
But the other guy still he's got to be exonerated in this one, because the evidence shows otherwise.
But I think that's definitely going to hurt Carver for a second.
And I mean, they're missing. That's the other thing I was thinking is when Stella came out of the shower, Jane went, should I look away? Because she was just a towel, and she's used to that being separate in Stella's apartment.
Yep. Well, good call. Normally, yes, but she's alone, so we're good.
But I thought it was weird that the party had already started, and not only is Stella just in a towel, but she's still writing the sign for Kylie's party.
Yeah.
And then they missed Kylie's party because of this nonsense.
I know.
I was really excited for Kylie, though. I
was too. Kylie, I was the part I loved at the beginning, though. Okay, when they first, like, because she's obviously like nervous or whatever, and Bowden and Stella's like pep talk. And I thought that was cute, though, because even like after they said it all to her and she left, they were like, good pep talk, you know, like they were so proud of themselves for like how they did it. And I was like, it was a good pep talk. I liked it a lot. And then her physical exam kicked that boy's butt.
Yes, she
did. Loved it. But then the poor girl froze on her written exam, and I was nervous. I was like, oh my gosh, because she said she barely finished.
But I like what Stella said. She said, but did you finish? Yes, but barely. Well, don't focus on the barely part. You finished.
Yeah, exactly. And I loved it. Even she said something about she was afraid Stella would be disappointed. And she's like, never. She's like, even if I get the lowest, like,
break the record.
And so I was like, actually, I think that'd be pretty cool. You know, I was like, I don't know. I really like their relationship. It's it's a sweet one.
Yeah. And I actually had the thought while they were doing the training with that guy that, is this how they're going to keep Chicago Fire running for all these years, is by introducing new characters via Girls on Fire, via watching all the training stuff. And I think that'd be a really good way to keep it. I mean, that would make us all happy, because I enjoy Chicago Fire. I don't want it to go, but these actors can't do this forever.
Yeah, they don't want to do it forever.
No, I mean, this is a taxing, physically exhausting job. Yeah. Firefighters don't do firefighting forever either.
Yeah, and I mean, you think about ones like Bowden and Herman and Mouch that have been on here for, this is season 11. And they're not young men to start with. I mean,
no.
I mean, like Herman was on Sex and the City for years, so he's already had a very long running acting career. He might be done at some point.
Some point, maybe.
You know,
I would, but I don't. It's funny that he's the elder, but he's the one I would really be devastated to see go. Like, he's the one who I wish would just stay on forever.
But I think it could happen. I don't know.
I mean, discuss that, Jeanette. I do think it was interesting that they put a little joke in there that was like breaking the third wall with Mouch when he was watching the fire shows, and he was complaining about the guy who had a beard.
Yes.
And then Cap said, because Cap is the real firefighter, and Cap said, send it to us and we'll straighten him out.
Tony. Yeah.
Tony.
No.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Tony.
I started thinking, and as soon as he said that, I was like, is there any?
I tried to figure out which show he was watching.
Well,
Is it
Station
Fire
19.
Country?
Oh, Vince has a beard, I think. But Jack has a little, it's a very light beard on Station 19. It's like just scruff. Is that what we're talking about?
I think it might be like a full beard that he was talking about, not scruff. Because Mouch has facial hair.
He has a mustache.
Yes, but it's
not the beard. So like the seal would still work. Because I thought about that too. Like you would still be able to get that seal that they're talking about around your face. Yeah, Jack on Station 19 has a little bit of a beard. It's not like big full.
I think it's interesting that they're taking a dig at all the other networks that are running fireman shows.
Because I like had to think about that, because I was like, okay, there's none on the 911s. None of those people have beard. Like I was running through every firefighter I could think of in my head from these shows, because I watch them all. Okay,
I know you do.
I watch them all. Yeah,
and it was through that I mean, Cindy, it was with the Hermans where we see Herman coming in and talking about breathing and about the temper problem, because it's in this, he explodes in the middle of this, and it ends Tony's referral to straighten out all the firefighters.
Cracked me up with like Herman. I don't know, that whole scene of him like just absolutely freaking out with Luke and the dent in the car, and I don't know, all of that. Cindy talking about breathing, and I was thinking, do you know who you're married to? Can you imagine like him like doing breathing exercises? It's cracking me up.
Yeah, that was insane. And then what did he call the yoga class? Yoga or something?
Zendoga yoga. Yeah.
That doesn't sound real.
I think, didn't Ritter say, I don't think it's called Zendoga
He said, I don't
yoga.
think it can be called Zendoga yoga.
Yeah, I think he was like, One of my favorite lines was, okay, so after they catch him, because all the guys catch him sort of meditating in his office, which I was like, oh no. And then they like do it up with the incense and everything else. It's this big prank. When he's talking about later how he says something about like, I smelled like that one time that I went to San Francisco. I was like, what does that mean? But I laughed so hard at that, because that just sounds like, I don't know, that one time I went to San Francisco.
I know exactly what he's talking about.
I've never been to San Francisco, so
I haven't either,
really
but
sure.
San Francisco is like full of like hippies who have incense and patchouli oils and stuff like that. It did kind of make me, it made me laugh when they broke in on him when he was on the floor in his office, and he looked at all of them, but it was like he was blaming Mouch specifically, and Mouch was like, I support this movement.
I know, of all the people, I'm like, Mouch probably is really into this kind of like stuff.
What did he say he's into? Didn't he say he's into something, Mouch?
Something.
I don't remember what it was.
The thing that I loved about the Zendoga yoga class, when he looked at Cruz, and Cruz was like, oh no, I'm more of a Zumba guy. I loved that
Herman
throwback. Still? Like, do people even do Zumba still?
I did like that. But I think that when Cindy came in, Herman's reaction, he's like, oh boy, I guess I shouldn't have told her what you did. And all of them are immediately repentant.
Yes.
I'm so sorry, Cindy, for all the things I put you through, for everything that I did. And then Mouch says, and I'm just apologizing for them on behalf of them, because I had nothing to do with it, but I swear I'll go do this yoga thing. And even when Herman was like, I want a picture, and she said, no, why would I be able to get that for you? I don't go there. That's not for me.
Cracked me up. She said, that doesn't work for me. Like, I mean, he's looking at her like, are you serious? And then what did he say? He's like, you know what? Basically saying we're made for each other. You don't need to change a thing. And he said, and this is when you can tell me that I don't. And she's like, I'll take a margarita. Like, she was not going to say that he doesn't need to make any changes, because it's not true.
Yep. I love them. That's why they're my favorite.
Yeah. No, it was a really funny like interaction altogether.
And next week we're gonna get more of the Carver storyline, where it says a bunch of stuff, but I guarantee, I don't guarantee. I think
it's misleading. I think it has to be misleading at this point. We'll see, but I don't see how you can do that. I don't know.
I do have one question. Who do you
Yeah.
think Kylie's going to replace? Because they aren't going to build her up to have her get called for somewhere else.
I don't know. I don't like this.
I know. Part of me thought it was going to be Stella going away. If Severide goes, Stella's going to go. Is where my
That
thought
would
went.
be a disservice.
I agree. But maybe this is something where she wants to get out of her contract and maybe she wants to go on to something new.
Aww.
I don't know. But I did think that I don't want her to go. I don't want Severide to go. I don't want anyone to go really, but I don't think I love Kylie and I don't want to see her be built up into this. If she was going to stay in the position she was, that'd be different. But they built her up and now she's a firefighter. She passed her firefighter's exam. So now even Bowden said, you just have to wait for your number to be called.
Yeah.
I mean, we currently only have one position to fill, and it's a lieutenant's position.
No, because if Severide decides not to come back, Gallo could actually probably move to squad because we got an opening, and then we'd have a place on truck.
But then then Severide will be who she's replacing them.
If I have to pick someone, that's who I pick because he's already off screen and I'm already becoming okay with it. I'd have to readjust and become okay with someone else being gone.
That's
true.
I'm
not. So
man,
if I have to choose,
back, though.
I mean, I do too, but you know what I mean? Like I'm already
well, I think either way with next week, I think Stella's going to be the one to make it right. And I think that it's only fitting since they're trying to keep that top of everyone's mind.
They're just going to have to quit though, because before it's over with, I'm going to be shipping her with Carver and not Severide. So they need to be careful.
I know.
Don't give it too much to where I'm going to be mad when Severide comes back because I'm really wanting Stella and Carver. I need be careful, That's all I'm saying.
Because makes me feel like they know something that we aren't.
Because they have a lot of chemistry. I mean, they really do. I saw it from day one, and everybody tried to fight me on it.
It's because we saw what you saw, but we didn't like it.
Yeah, and I'm not saying I do like it. I think I still choose to keep because it is okay to have some happy marriages last on these shows.
That's exactly it.
But they need to quit, or I'm gonna be torn.
We'll see how next week plays out. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see.
Well, let's move on to Med because it's depressing me now.
True.
But this week was actually because of the Archers and the Hannah thing. I was left mad this episode too, and I do like that what we're getting right off the bat is this storyline because I mean we've fallen in love with Luigi for obvious reasons, and now you and I are vying for who's going to have the right outcome in the Archer Hannah relationship.
I want what you want.
So does Sean. So does
actually,
Luigi.
Here's the thing. I know. After this week, I actually feel like a little bit different than I have in other weeks. In the way that I'm not sold on the fact that they're going to go that direction.
What, Sean and Hannah or Dean and Hannah?
Dean and Hannah. I'm thinking maybe not now.
I hope so.
I think in this episode, it sort of cleared it up for us. I don't know. We'll see. But I mean, obviously, Luigi had kind of given us a little, and I think he did this on purpose when he said something about, I can't remember exactly what his words were during the interview, but he's the one that put the Sean Hannah idea in our head. And I think he had to, either he just was just guessing or he already knew. I'm not really sure. Because
maybe he felt the chemistry with Jesse.
Maybe, because I had seen nothing until now, but now here we are. Sean's getting tested, which obviously he's going to be a match because that's going to be a big dramatic thing. That barista is flirting with him and he wants nothing to do with them because Hannah's there and obviously they've got something. He wants her, which I think was, I don't know, I was happy. I was like, ooh, so we are finally gonna say this, yay. And then that poor couple comes in, which this was a crazy thing, which I feel like I called this one too. When they're sitting there and talking about, only because I was like, Hannah's got to be involved in the storyline somehow. So when the couple's discussing how Tom hasn't, he's been losing tons of weight. We already knew he had a tapeworm. So that part was okay, yeah. But his wife's I haven't been able to. I'm thinking, are you pregnant? Is that how we're going to get Hannah involved in the storyline? I don't know. It just popped in my head somehow. I didn't realize she was going to be ready to deliver pregnant. I thought maybe we were just going to find out she was pregnant and this is what's been going on. But I should have left this one for you to talk about, Maureen. It wasn't that bad, I don't think. Do you did you think it was bad? I didn't think it was bad at all.
That was gross.
I laughed when it popped its little head out, just kind of like I laughed. I thought it was so funny because it was almost like it looked around. And I was like, look at it. I thought it was great. And just Dean's whole reaction, just like, I mean, we saw it in the preview when he was like, whoa, what was that? Imagine that would be like, I don't know. Shock.
No, I don't want to imagine
He
it.
kept pulling it and it was so long. I was like, when is it going to be over? Like, it was so. I'm killing
It was
you.
6 feet. Ugh. I'm just gonna mute myself while you talk about this because I'm gonna make a whole lot of noises.
I think it's so funny. So long. Oh, but so back to the wife or whatever. Like, I was little. We had like Sean and Hannah, who were clearly gonna have a sweet little lunch date, and then of course we see Pam, and Pam is in labor. Doesn't realize she's in labor. Poor lady. What she thought she peed on herself, and Hannah's like, no, that's your water breaking.
She also thought she had what her husband had.
I know, which I feel like I mean, maybe you would think that, right? When she said that, she's like, oh, I just, my husband, I when I get upset, I need someone. I'm like, you don't know this guy though. Like that, I feel like that was a little weird. Like,
yeah.
Why do you need him in there? I mean, it's fine. It worked because I was happy to have him on my screen.
I can see it though, because she was terrified. She was unprepared for this, and he was already there holding her hand in it. I mean, I've been in emergency medical situations where I'm like, I just need somebody so I don't freak out.
Which I think I would love, but I would never be brave enough to ask that perfect stranger to like, please stay and hold my hand. I'd love for them to offer.
Even if it was Luigi?
Yes, please. I mean, maybe. No, I mean, he does like, maybe. I mean, because he's so kind. I love how he just offered, like, but you're also giving birth.
And he looked so happy to do it.
He did. But of all the things to like ask somebody to stay with you, like, I'm getting ready to give birth. That one's a little private. Although I don't know, maybe in that, I remember being in labor. You don't really care about much of anything at that moment.
I mean, there were like 45 people in my room where I was giving birth. So you don't really think about the amount of people in the room. You just think of what's going on in the moment. Yes.
Let's be done with this.
Think of, we had 9 months to prepare for our birth.
True.
This woman had no idea what was coming down the pipe for her. So she probably wanted anyone that she would know in that room. And if he's right there with her, talking to her already.
Yeah, true. Very true.
I mean, I would latch on to anybody who gave me any modicum of comfort when I was that I mean, it's scary knowing what's going to come out of you. See, I would imagine even more scary when you have no idea what's about to happen.
Idea. Yeah. I can't. Oh, yeah. That would be crazy.
Every time I've given birth, there have been marathons on TLC of I didn't know I was pregnant until I gave birth.
That's too
Every
funny.
single time I've given birth, that has been a marathon on TV.
I mean, do they put that on there just for fun?
No, it's just TLC runs it. And then when I got cancer, we thought, am I pregnant? I don't want to give birth and not be prepared for this, because it was like there's a bunch of circumstances. And they kept saying, no, you're not pregnant. I'm like, no, I'm something. I am something right now. So I thought I was going to be on that. Scary. Anyway, sorry. Keep going.
No, you're good. You're good. I always love those like situations. It's because I can never imagine, like, every time I've been pregnant, I clearly knew I was pregnant. Like, there was no hiding it from anyone. But then when they're all like eating afterwards, it's all sweet, Hannah and Sean and Dean. And that's when Sean kind of gives Hannah that look. And Dean's like, oh, I know that look. I think he did try to discourage the relationship, but I really think his discouragement really was of, you were recovering. Hannah is really still recovering. It didn't seem like a place of jealousy.
Not at all.
And I think had he been interested in Hannah, it would have been a place of jealousy. So I'm actually changing my mind that I don't know that we're going to go there.
I think Luigi's going to, nope. Sean.
I know, it's hard. I think Sean is going to think that.
Yeah, because I don't think he realized how close Hannah and Dean were. It's purely friendship. Maybe
I think
Hannah
so.
might feel a little something for Dean.
I don't
But
think
I think she's
so.
walking a line there that she doesn't even realize. I don't think she thinks she's attracted to either one of them. I think she just enjoys both of
Yes.
them at this point.
I think that is because I don't think she's into Sean either.
Mm-mm.
I mean, I
No.
don't think she's
I
into
think she
anyone.
feels the same way about Sean that she does about Dean.
Yes. And I hope that maybe though, since Sean is her age, that once we find out if he's interested. But I also think Hannah is smart enough, like we've said, I'm not sure that two addicts in the place that they're at right now
Mm-hmm.
is a good idea.
Exactly.
A little bit further down the road, that might be good for each other because you can help each other through different situations that you're familiar with. But I think right now, and I think she'll be smart enough to realize that this is not the time for this.
And I think
As much as I want it, though. But if one of them almost dies in a kidney transplant, maybe she will realize.
But I'm honestly okay with seeing her have the kind of friendship with Sean that she has with Dean.
No,
I'm okay with
Ned,
that for right now.
look, Ned needs some sort of relationship that I'm on board with. So, like, we're gonna have to do something because the only one we got going right now, I don't actually like. So
it's not really even going anywhere.
It's doing something because apparently, like, they made the reference. What was it last week when they were something about sleeping with the enemy or whatever? And I'm like, okay, well, didn't even know that was happening. So you could like. I don't even get to like find out about this other than just words.
I do think though that maybe it'll have to be Will and Hannah, but I like the friendship that Sean and Hannah has, and I like the friendship Hannah has with Dean too. I would like to see Sean and Hannah together because I like Sean.
I can't have his heart broken. Like,
but honestly, what is the reason here? Do we want? Think about the real answer, because I know what my answer is. Do we really want to see Sean and Hannah together because we really think Sean and Hannah will work, or do we want Sean and Hannah together because we want to see Luigi more?
Because we want to see Luigi more.
Yes, that's exactly.
I don't think it doesn't matter why. And because
it does though, because I don't think the characters will be good together for the reason you already said.
His sweet little face. I can't have it disappointed.
Maybe Hannah will set him up with someone who will be good for him, and they'll have that really close friendship bond and the addict bond.
But she was pushing Grace and Will, so clearly she's not a good matchmaker at all. Like, she's no good at this.
Maybe, oh, no, I don't want Grace with Sean.
No, we're not going to saddle him with her.
That would be bad. Maybe, maybe they'll bring Cuevas back, because I could see Cuevas with Sean.
That could work.
Okay.
Somebody. I'll take the barista. I don't care.
That wouldn't bring more Luigi, though.
Maybe it would.
No, it wouldn't.
I don't know. We just have to see a lot of the coffee shop.
Which is okay.
Here's the thing, though. Okay, I lied a minute ago. There is a relationship that I do enjoy. I enjoy Dr. Charles and Liliana.
I do a lot.
So I think that one's okay. And we got to see some more of them this week.
I need to know what the deal is with that brother, because what she explained this week was not sufficient.
I honestly think it's nothing. I think it's appearing sinister, and it's not sinister at all.
I don't know. I think he's got way too much aggression to be innocent.
Well,
I feel like he's going to take his anger out somewhere.
I do think, I think he's not necessarily a bad guy, but I do think the reasons she explained are weighing heavily on him. And for some reason, he's fixating that on Dr. Charles. So I do think something's going to come of it, but I don't think he's like, I mean, I thought he was like a mobster or something last week. Yeah, I don't think that anymore, No. So, yeah.
Because that talk he had with Dr. Charles when he was staring at him, but it's a weird fixation, and something is going to happen with him. It has to, because otherwise this is a stupid buildup. If nothing happens with him, I'm going to be mad that they focus so much time and energy on this guy.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Because it's dumb. But when he dropped her off, and he came to pick her up, and she was going to give Dr. Charles a kiss, and Pavel came up and he interrupted that and basically was like, get in the car. Like,
it's weird.
So because you aren't able to do what you did before, she can't have any love or enjoyment with anybody who's here. I don't like him. I don't like him. Even though he was a lawyer, so you got to wonder, was he actually good at his job? Because it doesn't seem like he'd be good at his job.
I know. I don't know. It's a very strange storyline that I'm no longer interested in.
And I think that played into, his paranoia, which is, it's almost like it's Dr. Charles has the paranoia about Pavel.
Yeah.
I don't even know if I'm pronouncing his name right, but Dr. Charles does have a paranoia about him, but it's I think his is more intuition. It's not like, oh, this guy seems like that. It's he can sense what we're sensing. And Pavel obviously has some sort of paranoia about being in America and being around Dr. Charles. And we see that in this patient, Jan Dover.
This poor lady. Oh my gosh.
So jaundiced.
Like, girl, you don't look in the mirror and see that? Like, that's a lot.
I don't mean to laugh at that, but I mean, that's an excellent point.
Like, it's not the lighting, sweetheart. Like,
oh, I know she blamed it on the fluorescent warnings. Like, your eyeballs are yellow.
I know. Which, I mean, I know she's just had she's had something traumatic, and I don't know how Dr. Charles does it, because I would be more like Maggie and like be like completely like, nah, lady, something is wrong. You need to stay here. Like, I don't have that kind of patience with someone at all.
I don't if they're of sound mind. But if I can tell that something is off, I would be more able to.
How do you just let her go? Like, I get what I mean. I
didn't
guess
have
you
a choice.
Can't make her stay, but
he didn't want to. And I like the fact that Dr. Charles not only he got her to come in by the plan of putting up all the curtains and all the stuff, taking away all the extra time. And even Maggie said, how are we going to figure it out when she took away all of our tools?
Right.
So I get that. And I mean, he did it well, and he did what he needed to do. But even when he sent her out, they found out her sister died of pancreatic cancer. That's what it was. And that's why she was jaundiced. So, I mean, it was a very real thing. So he had the wherewithal to call this other psychiatrist and update them on what's going on, saying, hey, if she calls you, see her immediately, try to get her to do this. This is what we believe is going on. So I think it was easier to let her go because he knew that he had a plan in place.
Yeah.
If he could get her on board with this, and it looked like he did. It looked like she was, she came in, and I think all he's basing this off is she came inside.
Yeah.
And that's an excellent starting point, that she came inside, that she took the card, that she allowed herself to be stitched up. She allowed all these things that she originally wasn't going to do, even the wheelchair. I don't want to use the wheelchair. It's protocol. Okay.
Yeah.
I think that he left her with a knowledge that she's going to call this person. And when she does call this person, they're going to be prepared and armed with the knowledge they need to get her to get tested.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, I'd love to see this case revisit him, just because I'm going to worry about this poor lady. I want to know if she's okay.
I think they lined it up pretty great to actually do that. And if they don't, it might be another misfire, because if she has to get checked out, she's going to call this person, get checked out. Where's she going to go to checked out? She's going to go to med.
Back to med.
So why not? And I mean, it was hard on Maggie, and I think it really was hard on everyone, but Maggie does, the last couple of weeks, she's really been taking things very, very almost aggressively personally. And she's already dealing a lot because the hospital has to make so many changes as they swap over to for-profit, which is just the dumbest thing.
The way they were sort of just like listing all the changes that were happening, like, just blowing my mind. I mean, Dora's talking about like the rehab center is going to part-time. They're just closing the dialysis center because those things aren't important. Yeah, I mean, anything. That's what Maggie said. Like, anything that makes money, that doesn't make money, is potentially on the chopping block. We made a new VIP floor that used to be the geriatric wing.
But the worst part about that is he said, Sharon went in there and said, I thought it was just a couple rooms. Well, at the 11th hour, Jack wanted the whole floor. And I want to ask you a question. Do you think that George is actually on Jack's side?
Yeah, I thought that from the beginning.
I thought maybe not at first, but now I'm fully
not. Maybe he wasn't at first, but I think he's easily swaying now, because I think George strikes me as the kind of guy who's worried about his own best interest. And at this point, Jack's the winning team. So
I even had the thought of maybe he was the one who actually got the vote. Maybe he's the one who flipped. Just because the way he was acting this week.
Yeah.
With everything, down to directing the crew who was redesigning the floor of where the aquarium is going to be and all that stuff. It just,
I think he was
a little later, but
yeah, I mean, I think he was against it, but I think he strikes me as the kind of guy that he's not going to like rock any boats really. So like, now that it is what it is, he's like, cool, I'm just going to go along with it. I don't know. I didn't like George from the beginning. So we all know, you can go back and watch old episodes. For the record, I didn't like him from the beginning. I mean, we've got, the ED is now only accepting, like, if you don't have insurance, it has to be an actual emergency. To the point that Will, God love his heart,
No.
convinced the man that he was having chest pains
pain.
just so he could get him in there. Will is not going to stand for this.
No.
Will's going to get
None
himself
of them
fired.
are. I'm telling you, none of
if
them
I'm being
are.
honest. Yeah. But this time Sharon's going to be right there with him, breaking all the rules to make it happen, I think.
100%.
Yeah.
She's mad.
She's so bad right now. Like, I don't know. What was it? The thing that set her off huge. So now we're also renting out 2.0.
That's ridiculous.
And renting it out for a whole day. Crockett needs this machine and the person's not even there yet. Excuse me?
This was the scene where made me think George is actually a little nefarious, because when they walked out, he went, oh, well, I guess I better tell Jack what's going on. But he seemed like he was more mad at Crockett and Will than he was at Jack.
Yeah.
Like, you're taking away my plans is what it felt like. And I was like, it was that line that I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
That has bad energy all over it. I don't think I like that.
Yeah.
Definitely. And I do like that Crockett was right there with him this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Renting it by the hour is a ridiculous ploy, first of all. But to have it booked for an entire day for nobody to be in there, it's people who are running a hospital like that have no business running a hospital. It's not safe. Yeah. It's not. I don't get why this is acceptable. So
the only people that can have this machine are people that have really great insurance. So no poor people could ever benefit from 2.0. Wealthy. Yeah. What I loved was, I didn't put this in the notes, but I loved how, like, when they first said it, and Sharon was real quick. Well, the first one was pro bono. This is a follow-up, so we're going to go ahead and consider this pro bono as well. It's like, yes, thank you. I don't know. It just seems like a lot. And I mean, I'm not liking it at all. And that stinks because, like we've said, when we've talked about 2.0, we don't love it and what it's done in a few episodes, but it is a great tool for the hospital to have. So, although this week, I don't know, because there's some issues with it. So we're going to see what happens there. But well, yeah, because what did it say? It was computing and it was stuck. It wouldn't direct him. It was like a little glitch, like it froze for a minute. And I'm a little disappointed, which I'm not too much in Crockett, because I think he just went on with whatever. But why didn't he realize, like, that there was something wrong with that? He's operated in there several times. I noticed there was something wrong just from watching it. Like, now I don't trust this. And where was Grace? Where's our little person behind the computer that's always there? Like, I feel like, I don't know. Yeah, she was nowhere this entire episode. Yeah. And it's likely because of the extra time and the way that 2.0 misdirected or took too long. They think Richard had a stroke on the table. He didn't wake up after surgery. Yeah, because I'm not sure. Life support. I think whatever Crockett did, that second one that he went to go, there was some sort of miscalculation and he hit something he wasn't supposed to. That's what I think. And the whole point of 2.0 guiding was that it was less invasive because 2.0 was guiding. So they didn't have as much open. They weren't actually like seeing in it. They were relying fully on that. And I think that's going to pull in. Well, obviously it does pull into next week, but I think that what's going to happen next week is that we see the data's gone. We see Jack tell Crockett to let it go, say, you don't want to waste your whole career on this. Obviously, 2.0 has glitched to the point that it has become dangerous to use. And because Jack has started to rent this out by the hour, by the day, by whatever, that he doesn't want anyone to stop renting it out because this is his moneymaker for all this. The only reason he wanted to turn it into a for-profit is for 2.0 because that is their moneymaker right now. You could say it's for all the other technology all you want. It's not developed yet. 2.0 is developed. That's the one where he wants to make money. That's the one that will make money. So he deleted all the data. He's not going to tell anybody that it's screwing up, that it's glitching, that's going to cost lives. And Crockett is going to, this is the return that we're waiting for. Yeah. 100%. When he was in that suit in that office with Jack and he said, don't let your whole career go down because of this, the look on Crockett's face, I'm so ready for him to return. So ready for it. Yeah, I think Will better be in there too. I think he will. That's what I was going to say. I think Sharon, Crockett, Will,
Mhm.
are not going to stand for that. Maggie probably too. I think
Mhm.
Dr. Charles is a little removed from it all, which is fine. I don't know that he's going to be in the middle of it, but I think those four are going to be absolutely in the middle of all of this.
Yeah. Mhm. And if not, I mean, the other thing that happened this week was Maggie brought up to Sharon that people were going to be calling her for references.
Mhm.
And that was it. It felt almost like we were saying good until I saw the preview for next week.
Yeah.
This whole episode, I thought, are we saying goodbye to Maggie too?
Yeah.
So it felt like we were saying goodbye to Maggie, felt like we were saying goodbye to Torres, felt like we were saying goodbye to all these other people, and I don't want to say goodbye to all these people.
Well, and that's what I mean, like you said about the writer stuff, like, did we know about this sooner? Like, are we setting stuff up? Because on a regular, I mean, I'm always worried about Chicago shows because I mean, but
they have
now
no
you
problem
add,
killing people.
and now you add in like the writer strike too. It makes it really nerve wracking.
Yes.
So I don't know. We'll see.
But
I hope everything's good.
I think you bring up a good point though, that Maggie's going to fight with the rest of them.
Mm-hmm. I think so. I mean, because even if she's leaving, I mean, I think Maggie's still going to fight till the end, which maybe that'll, you know, they get it fixed. I hope she doesn't leave. But we've also talked about, we know the actress has her own personal issues happening as well. So
Exactly.
You never know.
And maybe what they'll do is they'll take her off. So because I really do, although with the writer's strike, she's going to get a longer break than she would have if it was a regular season. But if there is a shorter turnover, I hope that if they do take her off, they just take her off. So they explain away as she's going to work somewhere else, but she'll actually be working behind the scenes to get Med back to a not-for-profit.
Yeah.
Because I cannot imagine Med without Maggie. But I mean, that actress deserves time to recuperate. I'm speaking from experience. Like I had this April will be actually, I just passed 1 year of finishing chemo. And my body is not recovered at all yet. And so I can't imagine going through. I mean, I still did ministry while I was going through chemo and radiation and mastectomies and all that stuff. I still did ministry, but I didn't work at a hospital. I didn't do half the amount of work that she has to do as an actress, even. I just realized that I confused the two worlds for a minute. Maggie's not undergoing chemo.
That's true.
But the actress.
I was just going along with it. Oh, Lord. Okay.
But the actress, I mean, working on sets, you hear people say, I was listening to something with Jennifer Garner, and she was saying that the moment every single moment she got a break on Alias, she was training for her role in that superhero movie she did with Ben Affleck. And when she would finish filming Alias, she would go right to the set of the movie and film. And then that's what filming is like. It's long hours. It's a lot of work. It's exhausting. I think people think of acting as, you just got to show up and say lines.
Oh God, no, it's hard
so
work.
much more work, especially when you're going through chemo and radiation and things that are poisoning your body. So I would understand more why I wouldn't want to see Maggie go ever, but I would understand her leaving more than anybody else.
Yeah. Agreed.
So that's next week. Both weeks, 2 weeks in a row, we ended with talking about Maggie needing a break and needing to leave.
I know. I hope we're wrong. I hope she doesn't need that at all, but
I do hope this is the one blessing of the writer's strike, is that it's going to provide them with a break, that maybe not financially, but with the break that her body needs. And some of the other actors who might be overdrive.
Same thing with Taylor, though. Maybe this will give him more time to take care of whatever he needed to take care of. So, yeah.
So there's a blessing in disguise for the writer's strike. We don't
not
want
good for us, but it could be in the end good. We'll see.
It'll have a long-lasting good effect for us, I think. So tune into our Chicago group on Facebook. It is Chicago Family Fan Club. Join us there for discussions, for conversations. We're getting ready to move into summer months where we're changing up our schedule a little bit because all of our shows are ending. I mean, we only have 2 more episodes of Chicago, and then it's done until we don't know when. That was depressing. I didn't think about that till I started saying it.
Sometime in the fall is what we're still going to hope for.
Yeah, I hope so. Maybe.
Good vibes. We're just going to put that out there.
Sunday, you can tune in for, I believe it will be our finale 911 Fox night, where we'll talk about, is it 2 Lone Stars and 1 OG 911? I think we're talking about on Sunday. That will come out. And then we'll also, next Wednesday, we'll get our final ABC night, which will be 2 episodes of Station 19 and 1 Grays.
Other way around. 1 Station 19, 2 Grays.
And you'll still have So that'll be the last ABC night, last Fox night you'll get from us for our season, for the current season next week. And then it'll be just Chicago show until June, when there's a little show called Cruel Summer that we all got addicted to. Actually, that's very first podcast on FFC was a Cruel Summer episode. And we actually released it earlier because we had been prepping to put out our podcast and we couldn't wait. So we just started talking about Cruel Summer, and that was our very first podcast we ever put out. It's back. So starting June, you'll have some Netflix shows from us on Wednesday night and then Cruel Summer recaps on Friday. So that's coming down the pike for you. Stay tuned for those. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. The more subscribers we get on our YouTube, on our podcast platforms, the more we get, the more credentials we have to get interviews for you. We would really like to interview some of these actors and crew and writers and directors. We'd really like to get them on our show. We really want to give you guys what you want, because I'm sure that more than hearing us talk for 3 hours a week, probably want to hear from the actors too. So don't forget to do that. Share it with your family and friends. Get the word out there, and we will see you tomorrow, or we'll see you Wednesday. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Loving our content? Subscribe to our YouTube channel, and don't forget to share our podcast with your family and friends. We want to continue the conversation with you. You can find us on Instagram, Twitter, or TikTok under Fandom Family Chats, or one of our ever-growing Facebook groups by searching Family Fan Club. We've also launched a website, Family Fan Club 2021 at Wixsite.com. You can email us there and keep checking it for announcements and merch coming soon. And of course, be sure to tune in every week for new episodes discussing all your favorite shows.